What's up YouTube, Webberz05 here, coming at you today with Q&A number 45. So today's questions are once again brought to you by my good friend Dark84, who states, these are a few of my favourite extra deck monsters. Okay, so let's get on that. 1. Thoughts on Supreme Arcanite Magician. So Supreme Arcanite Magician is one of the few ultimate rares in the game which holds spell counters. I like it. I like it so much I have 2 ultimate rares of it. One in my collection, one in a little frame here that I can wear around my neck. That's how much I like it. My only issue with it is that it's not exactly very easy to summon, since it requires a Spellcaster Synchro monster and a Spellcaster monster. And Spellcaster Synchros aren't exactly something Endymion can do very easily. I mean, I've been testing around with it because of what banlist Director can do, since he's a level 6 tuner monster I can send to the Grave of Souls, bring back with Celine, use her own effect to bring back souls, and then I can synchro into a level 7 monster. So, just been testing around with that to see how well it works. So far it's a bit hit and miss, but still working on it. So, turns out adding a Synchro into Endymion, not completely difficult. But if I want to go to the next stage of playing this in it, that's going to take a lot more work. Unless I'm allowed to play customs, and then I can do it really easily, because I made a really decent custom card which can get this thing out very easily. 2. Thoughts on Junk Warrior. Junk Warrior is just a nice classic monster from 5Ds. I think pretty much every player who first got into Synchros at that time was playing Junk Warrior at some point, because Junk Synchro is just a very decent tuner monster, which makes it very easy to go into 5s. Sorry guys. So yeah, Junk Warrior, very decent. He's got some pretty decent support of his own, like his Scrap Fist for example. Don't remember all the effects, but I remember it makes Junk Warrior pretty damn decent. Be interested to see if Konami does more around Junk Warrior in the future. Possibly. We'll see. 3. Thoughts on Thought Ruler Archfiend. I really like Thought Ruler Archfiend. When I was playing the 5Ds over the Nexus on the DS, that was probably one of my favourite cards to go into. Particularly when I was doing the World Racing Grand Prix arc in the game, where it's like lots of team dueling and you're against various duels at once. Thought Rule is very decent for boosting up my life points so I can keep myself going throughout the matches, which was really good. And overall I think it's a pretty cool card and I like its effects. 4. Thoughts on number 61 Volcasaurus. I really like Volcasaurus as a rank 5. Probably one of my favourite rank 5s in the game, because of just the nice versatility of what you can do with it. Summon it, effect, detach, pop a card, burn it, pop a monster and blast its attack to your opponent, but it can't attack directly if you do so. It just says it can't attack directly. So you can still use it to attack monsters, but if that was the only monster in your opponent's field, you can't do much with it, except use it as a material to turn it into Gaia Dragon the Thunder Charger, so then you can still smack your opponent with it, which was probably one of my favourite things I liked to do with it back in the day. Yeah, that was a lot of fun, Volcasaurus. Yeah. 5. Thoughts on Express Gaming's favourite number, number 32 Shark Drake. I quite like Shark Drake as well. My only issue with Shark Drake is that it's not exactly the most practical of using 3 level 4 monsters to go into it, until such time Konami invents ways that lets you, Xyz summon monsters with a bit more ease. Like maybe inventing Xyz Crown from the anime. Import Xyz Crown from the anime, which lets you treat an Xyz monster's rank as a level and treat it as 2 materials. I mean, I'd be okay if they just want to give it one of those effects of, like, say, treating its rank as a level. That's fine. That would at least make it somewhat a bit easier. But overall, its multi-attacking effect is pretty good. Attacks them, attack over something, bring it back, drop its stats, attack it again. Kind of glad that effect doesn't stack in the turn, that you can't do it multiple times, but, they can't make it too broken. But still, overall a pretty good card, and I like it. 6. Thoughts on Chaos 39 Utopia Ray V. Ray V I really like. Good way to just good way of blasting your opponent for damage, and then smacking them directly if they only had one monster. And his recovery effect built in is also pretty good as well, that you can put an Xyz monster from your graveyard back into your deck if it goes to the graveyard. Not so, which isn't terrible. Yeah, I definitely enjoyed using it back when he first came out, and I was starting to use Xyz monsters a bit more. Yeah, overall I think he's a really good version of Utopia. 7. Thoughts on Heroic Champion Excalibur? Excalibur I've also quite enjoyed using back in the day, because warriors were a very easy thing to spam out with things like Goblinberg and then other level 4 warriors that you can play that work in a deck for Xyz summoning. So going into Excalibur wasn't exactly too difficult. Low stats, but with his ability to buff himself up to 4k, pretty decent. I think my only issue with it is that it only does it once, and then after that it's just kind of average. But still a pretty useful thing if you're just trying to go for game, I suppose. So yeah. Oh, and also the artwork's really cool, and I really like him. 8. Thoughts on C39, Chaos 39 Utopia Ray Victory? Yeah, really like Utopia Ray Victory as well. I've definitely enjoyed using him in some of the video games as well. On the DS version of World Duel Carnival, I definitely enjoyed using him. He's definitely a very fun thing I tried doing some things with. I think one of the favourite things I did with him was playing the Utopia ZW deck in tandem with Assault Armor. For those who don't know the combination, you basically just go wait for your opponent to have two monsters, make Utopia Ray Victory with Numeron Force, negate everything your opponent's got. Equip it with Lightning Blade, and equip it with Assault Armor. Assault Armor's effect is if it destroys a monster in battle, you can send it to the grave so it can attack again. So then you just go, cool, battle phase, declare attack, effect, attach material, negate your monster's effects, gain a stack, gain points. So you're basically just smacking them for 4k, sack off the Assault Armor, do it again. It's great. Lots of fun things I've done with Utopia Ray Victory. 9. Thoughts on Ebon Illusion Magician? Ebon Illusion is quite nice. I like the versatility of how it works in like a Dark Magician deck. So like, pretty generic to summon of 2. I'm not sure if it's level 7 spellcasters or just level 7s in general. I think it's just level 7s in general. And then it's just like, detach 1, summon a vanilla spellcaster from the deck, which in your case is probably Dark Magician. And then if a normal monster declares an attack, you can banish a card on the field, which is pretty good. And since that works on the attack declaration, you then get to redeclare your attack if you just decided to do it against the monster you were attacking into, or just a monster on the field. So yeah, overall, pretty good card. Don't think I've really seen you use it too much, but that being said, you've probably got just better options that you can go into depending on the situation. But overall, I think it's a pretty decent card. And last question. Thoughts on Daigusto Emerald? I have kind of mixed feelings about Emerald. I like him for his recovery effect, but I severely dislike him for the things that people were doing with him back at the time when he was overly hyped. So that was probably like during Zodiac format, where people were just using him as part of a loop of recover things like Norden and your Zodiacs to go into more Xyz, and then people were finding what. And then this was also around the time when it got banned as well, when people were actually also being part of the reason that Norden got banned, because he was being part of the reason of people actually fusion summoning Norden normally. So you just go, because since it's an Xyz once you just go, cool, use 2, activate fusion substitute, fuse my 2 Xyz monsters including Daigusto Emerald into Norden. Norden effect brings something back, overlay into another Daigusto Emerald and put stuff back, and it just kept looping. It was awful. I'm kind of very glad it's at 1 now, so it's not really as broken. And then also its secondary effect of just detach to bring back a normal monster. I suppose that can come up every now and then, so that's pretty decent. And on that note, guys, that's all the questions I have today. So thank you very much, Dark84 for your questions. Very amusing as always. And also, as I mentioned in another comment on the video, I do apologise for what I said about the other questions, but and actually, as I said, since I gave pretty much similar answers when you asked me about who would win between 2 decks, it's not exactly the best kind to give you the answers to your questions when I'm pretty much giving them all the same. So I just wanted to try and mix up my questions to make them a bit more interesting. Well, on that note, guys, thank you so much for watching. And if anyone else has any questions for me, I do these Q&As every Wednesday afternoon UK time or morning, depending on my schedule. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.